How in the world do you explain anxiety to a child? It's such a huge, complicated feeling. But what if the answer wasn't in some dense textbook, but in a simple story? Today, let's dive into how a children's book, Anna, A Calm in the Storm, creates this incredible new language for one of life's biggest emotions.
This is the question, right? It's on the minds of so many of us, parents, teachers, anyone who cares for a child. Anxiety feels so abstract and, let's be honest, overwhelming even for us as adults. So how do we possibly begin to explain it to a kid without making it sound even scarier than it already feels?
Well, it turns out the answer might not be in a clinical definition at all. It's in a story. A simple narrative can create a safe space, a common ground, to explore these really tough emotions, giving both grown-ups and kids the exact words they've been searching for.
So, the power of this particular story all starts by tapping into a feeling that kids, well, they already understand. That feeling of a storm brewing right inside them. And this is the core metaphor. The whole shebang. We're not just talking about a little worry here. No, this is a full-blown internal weather system. It's chaotic, it's loud, and it feels completely, totally out of their control. And just like that, with one single image, that big, abstract feeling of anxiety becomes something a young mind can actually grasp. Now, to navigate a storm like that, you're going to need a guide. And that's where we get to meet our main character, Anna.
And boom, right away, you connect with her. That feeling of being small and lost, who hasn't felt that? The story doesn't just tell us Anna was worried. It shows us how that storm of worry made her feel. It builds that bridge of empathy almost instantly.
Now this is where the story gets really brilliant because it connects that emotional storm to real physical feelings. The swirling thoughts are like the chaotic wind. That rumbling tummy, that's the thunder. The racing heart is like the lightning. And the natural response to all of that? Of course you want to hide. It perfectly maps the physical symptoms of anxiety onto this super powerful metaphor.
So, what's really going on here? Well, the book is basically performing this kind of beautiful translation for us. And this just lays it out so clearly. The story takes this clinical, sometimes really intimidating word, anxiety, and it reframes it as a storm. And that one simple change makes the feeling less like a diagnosis and way more like a temporary state. Something you can weather, not something that has to define you. There's actually a literary technique for this. It's called personification. By turning anxiety into a storm, the story gives it characteristics. It's not some vague, nameless dread anymore. It's a thing with a beginning and an end. It's something you can actually observe and understand and, yeah, even face. And because of that, it becomes manageable. Okay, but just describing the storm, that's only the first step. The real magic of this story is how it shows kids they can become their own calm inside of it. And this is absolutely crucial. This isn't just a story designed to make kids feel helpless against their own feelings. No way. It's really an instruction manual, a toolkit, cleverly disguised as this beautiful narrative. It's all about empowerment, giving them real, actionable strategies. And here are those tools. And look how they keep the metaphor going. It's so smart. First, you notice the clouds. You learn to spot those first signs of worry before the whole storm rolls in. Then you breathe through the wind, using the very real physical act of deep breathing to counter the chaos. And finally, my favorite, you find your anchor. Such a powerful visualization, just holding on to something solid and safe when everything else feels like it's spinning out of control. And this is the big moment. This is the triumphant turn. The whole narrative flips. See, Anna isn't the tiny boat getting tossed around by the waves anymore. She becomes the lighthouse, strong, steady, a source of light in her own darkness. The storm might still be there, yeah, but her relationship to it has completely changed. She has the power now. So let's just pull back for a second and look at why this whole narrative approach is just so incredibly effective for families, for classrooms, for anyone really. It really all comes down to this. The story gives everyone a shared language. It reframes anxiety as a manageable challenge, not a monster. It provides actual tools that work, and that helps reduce the shame around it. But most importantly, it casts the child as the hero. They're not just a victim of the storm. They are actively learning to be the lighthouse. And that, right there, that is the essential takeaway. Look, the goal isn't a life with no storms. I mean, that's impossible, right? The goal is to build an inner strength, an unshakable calm that lets us navigate whatever weather comes our way. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. By simply changing the language we use, by reframing a problem as a story, what kind of doors could we open? What inner storms could we help a child understand and ultimately navigate just by starting a new kind of conversation?